Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm Renny Doyle, and today we're going to take and talk about Absolute. Now Absolute is a rinseless product. Now this is a big difference, not a waterless, a rinseless. We're going to show you how Absolute works and what the rinseless process means. Now rinseless washing is nothing new. We've actually been doing it on aircraft since the 70s. Yep, that's the 70s. And the reason why is a lot of airports were considered to be kind of toxic with all the runoff. And so we were kind of forced to be more efficient with our water in the ways that we washed airplanes. So again, rinseless is nothing new. Also on classic cars, now back in the background, you might be able to see a hint of my 67 Chevelle soft top. Maybe not. We're going to show you here that in just a second. On classic cars, they don't have drains. So on the older cars, we've been taking and washing classic cars with a rinseless method for decades. Especially my car, we've had it for about 24 years. In those 24 years, I've only taken a hose or a pressure washer to it maybe 4 to 6 times when it's gotten out of rain and we needed to do it. One of those times was when I originally drove it all the way from Southern California where I bought it, all the way to Idaho where we were living at the time. And then when we came back to Southern California, again, I drove the car all the way from Idaho with a stop to SEMA, so my car got to go to SEMA with me, and then drove it to the rest of the way into California. So both of those situations need a little extra attention, and I was kind of reluctant to wash it with a pressure washer because we like the rinseless way. So let's go ahead and get busy on showing you how Absolute works. So before we get into the how-tos, let's go ahead and talk about some of the tools of the trade that you're going to need. And so absolutely have Absolute on hand. That's the key of the product right now. We're going to have a measuring cup. So it's basically a ½ ounce per gallon of water. So most of the time, this is a 5-gallon wash bucket. We've got about 4 gallons in there. So you can see, if you zoom in on this by chance, you can see that I've got 2 ounces marked perfectly. I like to use this perfectly because the product's super concentrated. And so using it, a gallon's gonna go a long, long ways. Now next in our wash bucket, not just simply a wash bucket with clean water, we have a grit guard. Grit guard's essential, and every time we do a wash, whether it's a rinseless wash or a bucket wash with your hose or your pressure washer, you want a grit guard in there. Now, as for sponges, Sydney up in Idaho got me absolutely hooked. You like that? Absolute. Hooked on these laser cut sponges. I love this on clean maintenance washes and clean cars. The Chevelle behind us are my wife's little classic Porsche. Great example of what this could be used on. Also here I've got the P&S. Now this is the microfiber mitt, and so you can use that. And then your drying towel of choice, really important. I like a nice size drying towel, not too small, so something that's really nice and large and absorbs the water great. Those are all tools that you're going to have, and then also kind of the conditions you want to take and use Absolute in. Naturally in the shade is best if you can. I really don't like to use any detailing products in the direct sun. Find a shade tree behind a building, behind your garage, or in your garage and shop is best. So now let's get on to the nitty gritty and do some work. So we've got the product down in the bucket, and I've put my mitts down in. Now what I like to do is, in this case, I always use a couple mitts, and so I've got both our microfiber mitt in here and then the laser cut foam. What I like to do is squeeze all the air out of there, and what it's going to do is replace the air with both Absolute product and water and get it nice and saturated with it. And so that's a great way to kind of prime your mitts before you get to work. All right, because a lot of you that are watching are going to be, some of you, the laser cut is going to be new and you're pretty used to traditional mitts. I'm going to go ahead and use both. Now the key to this, because you're going to be in your shop, your garage, maybe a nice customer's floor, maybe your own floors are all epoxied up, is I don't want to take a super soaked, it doesn't require it, not a super soaked mitt, is I'm actually going to wring out about half that water so it's a little neater once I get the mitt to paint. All right, so our pad is all wrung out. Now we're doing this for demo purposes only. So what I normally do is work from the inside to the outside and then work my way back. We're going to concentrate right on this part just so it's a good illustration of what you want to do. So I'm going to take my mitt, it's wrung out, and I'm going to go full panels. What I mean from that is I'm going all the way from the top all the way to the bottom. I don't want to do a scrub technique because what that will do is a lot of times put surface scratches in the paint, where this way, going all the way, tip to tail, front to back, the airstream. Think about the way the air flows over. That's the direction I'm going. So I'm going to go from the inside out, then I'm going to go back one more time, and that's just going to take and pick up more dirt. Now, one thing you can do is, as you're coming back towards you, You can do this and then flip the mitt over to a fresh side and then come back that direction. That way you can take and rinse it out. All right, so we've got our drying towel out. Now, a lot of people will pat dry. I'm a wiper because the area is already nice and clean. I don't mind wiping it gentle. Again, full tip to tail on this is the way to go. I'm going to come around all the tight areas, and if you want to, you can flip your towel over to kind of take a little bit of that dampness off. And again, the surface is nice and clean, smooth, dry. Absolute dries out really, really nicely, kind of self-levels out. So there's how you dry it. So now Chris is here, and we're going to get busy, and we're going to do the whole car. So check it out. All right, so you watched Chris and I in fast action washing the car. It's actually a very, very fast system. Now, what's the ideal situations for using Absolute Rinseless? Is again, we spoke about, you can see in the background, 2 classic cars, one very classic, the other, the Porsche is becoming a classic, is again, the old 60s and 70s muscle cars. They don't have drains. Older cars don't have drains, so this is ideal for that. Also, where there's either runoff issues or there's water restrictions, great idea if you're working in a really nice garage and doing maintenance washes. Another great way, and speaking of maintenance washes, this is very fast and effective on clean cars. Matter of fact, I own a truck, full-size Ram. We own the Porsche, the Chevelle, a couple other small cars. Most of the time, because I wash these cars once or twice a week, a rinseless method is actually what I'm using for a couple different reasons. My cars are coated, well protected, well maintained. They don't get super, super dirty. And guess what? I can clean them very quickly without pulling all my equipment out and getting a mess made of the shop. So, hey, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that you enjoy Absolute. If you have any comments, please comment below. Smack that like button, subscribe to us, and again, we love to hear from you. Show us, tell us what you want to hear next, and we love to hear from you via email, renny@detailingsuccess.com. I'm Renny Doyle. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy Absolute. Until next time, we'll see you soon, and happy detailing.